Welcome to the show we like to call For the Love of Real Estate, where we dive into what it means to buy or sell a home in today's world. Join host Jill Elliott, Dallas broker associate and former radio personality, as she marries her two loves, radio and real estate. She's going to have you asking yourself, for the love of real estate, should I tackle my fears and buy, rent, sell, or remodel?
Hello and welcome. Thanks for showing some love and being here today. I do appreciate it because I do ask myself that question, why am I doing this crazy podcast? There's only a million others, but after being in real estate for a little bit, I came to the conclusion that I've met some pretty cool people along the way, and I wanted to share them with you. I have also met some amazing people prior to starting real estate. And I love how karma works. You meet people, you move away, and by the magic of Facebook, you get to keep in touch. And who knew this guy I met in my radio is now a realtor in one of what I think is the coolest cities in the world, Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Bill. I will get you home seller from the ATL. How are you doing?
Jill, I'm doing great. It's good to talk with you. It's been a while. Too long.
I know it. It's so great to hear your voice. So I guess I consider you one of the coolest people I've ever met because you're on this show. So congratulations.
And you need to get out more. But
that's probably true right now, huh? And whether anybody else thinks you're cool, I don't know, but I do. So there, that's okay, right?
I'll take it.
And I think it's kind of ironic that you ended up being a realtor because your last name is Seller. Like basement or cellar if you spelled it differently. Isn't that kind of weird?
Well, that and, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. It was really funny when I first started taking classes and as they talk about everything. It was like, Mr. Seller. And I kept wanting to raise my hand like, here?
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with me, apparently.
No, it didn't, but it should have. It's crazy to say I've known you for almost 20 years.
Wow.
20 years. I know. I started working for the radio station in Atlanta. I think it was in 2002, which is Kicks 101.5. And I had Jack in 2003. So
wow.
It's been like a long time. And do you remember though, when I found out I was pregnant and I had just gotten back from Disneyland in California and I went with Ron because it was our producer and it was the ABC fall lineup. And we told our music producer, Johnny Gray, that I was pregnant and it was Ron's. And he was like, the look on his face. Oh my. Oh, what's happening?
But you would have to know Johnny to know exactly how much he really did relish in that picture. So
I know. I did the cardinal sin of radio. I made an inside joke inside. I didn't make it outside, right. Did I? But gosh, your kids have all grown up now. I mean, you have another generation. Don't they call you like great grandpa or something?
No, now let's settle down. No, my kids are all grown now. I've got 3 grandchildren.
I know.
And life is good. I mean,
wow.
I've been in the Atlanta area since 1986. And,
whoa.
Before kids. And, life happens. And next thing you know, I'm looking at 3 grandkids all of a sudden. So it's a great city. It's a great place to raise your family. And we've enjoyed being here. So as you well know.
But I remember, oh God, I miss it. Like, let's not even go there. I'll start crying or something. But you had called me when you first started. I mean, because you've been an agent, quite a while now, but you called me and we were talking and I just kept remembered thinking, Bill, hang on, because so many people, they don't just know you, but they trust you because they listened to you for so long. I mean, that's got to be a part of it.
That's what's really funny is that, several of my buyers figured out, oh, wait a minute, you're that guy. Now, I haven't been on the radio in Atlanta for 9 years now, but they are now 30-ish and grew up listening to me. Seriously. I mean, they were kids when their mom was taking them to school in the car and, in high school and all that. And it's a pretty cool feeling. I won't lie. But yeah, you're right. Because of the relationship I have with the city, it has definitely helped. And, folks who were listeners have become clients and friends.
Okay. So now I'm asking myself, I didn't stay in Atlanta. Why? Wait a minute. That was my first show. I think we all know what happened there.
Yeah, well. Look at the
still,
time. Wow, I gotta.
Yeah, time to go. But I do believe trust is everything, and that's my new buzzword. That's what I keep saying because it's just that important. And I wanted to have you on for a lot of reasons, but it would be no doubt that I would refer you if I knew that someone was moving to Atlanta. And gosh, you better do the same because see, really, people are moving to Dallas. That's what's happening.
Listen, the highway goes both ways, and I'm more than happy to do that for you.
Yeah.
And it's funny you talk about the trust factor, and I think that just like everything else in life, as the years go by and technology becomes more prevalent in our life and all that, that's one of the things I like to talk to folks about it. When I go to talk to them about selling their house or whatever, and they say, well, knock or open door says that they can do it for this. And I'm like, what, that's great, but they don't care about you. They don't.
Exactly.
And they're going to come in, they're going to offer you less than what you want to make just so they can, because they're in it to make a profit. So, that's what they're worried about. Whereas I understand the emotional connection. You get it. You know what the emotional connection to selling a house is. Gosh. And we're there to help you kind of walk through that and make you understand that everything isn't personal. When somebody says they don't like something about the house or that they don't like the way the yard looks, don't take it personally.
Right. Exactly.
It's funny. I remember years ago, before I was even in real estate, we were selling my other house. I happened to be home for a showing, and I just had to be there. I couldn't leave. And I remember them. I was downstairs, and I could hear them up in our bedroom going, "Oh, the color of this bathroom? Hell no!" And I was my first thought was, "Then get out." But then I realized, what do I care? You're going to paint it a different color, just pay me.
Well, yeah, but I think like the emotional connection is when it kind of creeps up on you, kind of like it did for me when I was leaving that house in Alpharetta. I mean, I saw everything flash in front of my face, and I didn't realize it. I knew I was going to miss it. I knew it was going to be sad, but I didn't realize it like that. And I think that emotional connection is what makes buyers want to buy your house. Because if you have that emotional connection with your house and you do the things that you need to do, then it's gonna show in the future. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. I think that if you walk into a home and you see it's a home where kids were raised and a family lived there, and whatever your definition of a family is, that's not for me to say, but my point to that being that I'm not saying traditional families only. As long as people feel the love that was in that house, they're going to know it when they come to see it, and that's what's funny too, is that we're all at different stages in our life, right? I'm looking probably to downsize here in a couple more years. Because my kids are grown and gone, as we discussed. But what happens then? And
you don't want them to come back? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's way too much room for them to. I'll tell you what, Jill, you laugh, but I've been trying. My last kids graduated high school in 2010, and in the last 10 years, 11 years now, I guess, 21. All four of my kids have come back at one point or another, which is fine. I give everybody a move back in free card one time. And then when my kids weren't living here, my parents moved in for a while. So it's like, oh, Lord, I need to get a smaller place.
Well, dang. What if I have to move in with you and Tina? How about that? Would you like that?
Well, the rent's reasonable. The rent's reasonable. When you get to the stage of life that we're in about downsizing, then you start to pack up. And then what happens is you open that bifold door in the laundry room that has everybody's measurements on it. Right?
Oh my gosh, yes, exactly.
And that's when it hits you. That's the kind of thing that when you're going to sell a house, you're like, wow, we had a life here, and it's not easy. Mm-hmm. But it needs to be done, and that's where you and I come in as far as getting back to that personal touch. You're not getting that from one of the digital sellers, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you're not, and you're also not getting a lot of money too, because I called them when I was in the process of selling my house a couple of years ago, three years ago, whatever it was. And, I just put it into the computer, and it was something like $45,000 less. And then, they want to hand you the inspection report and say, and by the way, fix $10,000 more or whatever it was on top of that. Right. So there is a little bit of read the fine print is if you want to go there is all I'm kind of saying, because there's more to it than meets the eye. Is it convenient? Probably. But
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to get out, yeah, that's fine. But just remember, they're in it to make money, so they're not going to offer you what you're asking because they need to pay less to make more.
Right.
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 So
exactly.
Look, and I suck at math, and that's just pretty. I understand how the system works. So,
Well, but it does what it's showing. Me as your human side, like we were saying, they don't really have one, and we have to have a human side sort of to hold your hand through it. And they're just not going to do it. They're going to be like, pack up and go. But I think sometimes if you put that much into your house, then you deserve a little bit more.
Yeah. It's all.
Although
like,
we're all not
so
promised money. Yeah, but we're all not promised money when we sell our house. And I think that is the misconception right now is, well, that's not enough for me to sell my house, which 10 years ago, if you sold your house, you really didn't make money, right?
Right. Well, and again, as that's another thing that we can do that the Open Door and the Knox and those folks don't do. We have a chance to sit down and explain to the client and show them the information that proves that, you may want this much for your house, but the market's telling you this is what you're going to get, right? And it's all based on what the market's going to offer.
Right. So example, if you want to do updates or improvements, then go ahead and do them and enjoy them because the cosmetic is different from what I call the bones of the house. So that is kind of what you're supposed to do, the bones of the house, make sure your AC is in working condition and make sure your foundation is good and the roof and all that jazz. The fun stuff, the decorating and all that, make sure that you're going to enjoy it if you can, if at all possible. That means you're not, moving. You're not, oh gosh, I just did all this stuff. I'm really not going to get I got to move. Make sure you know what your future might look like. Is there a possibility I could move out of town? Is there a possibility I might stay here with my job? Whatever that might be, and to know. But I do know, gosh, I don't know if it's like this in the Atlanta market, but if you want to build a swimming pool in Dallas, good luck. I mean, with what happened the past year, I would think that it would have gone down of what people were doing. But no, more people are putting more into their houses. So that means we have a very low inventory here because nobody wants to move after they put in that $200,000 pool.
Well, absolutely. Not just that. I mean, the inventory's tight here as well. The funny thing is we're talking about you may not get what you want for your home, but in fact, in the Atlanta area, it's a seller's market. I mean, we're having.
Oh yeah, for sure it is.
I mean, I had a client back in December where we made an offer, I think, on like an $800,000 house. And I could not believe we were up against 11 other offers at that price point. Now that doesn't happen much here in Atlanta. If you're looking at 200 to 250, you're fighting 12 offers, but at that price point, I couldn't believe it. That tells you how tight the inventory is. But the other thing about people are spending money on their homes and they're putting in pools because of COVID. We're all at home now. So let's make the house as luxurious as we can, I suppose. We can't go anywhere and do anything. So I guess people are looking to doctor up the house.
But if you sell too soon after those improvements, you may not make the money that you are hoping for.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. That's what I'm saying,
Right.
But we have that too right now. See, that's what we were seeing only in the, ones, twos, threes, those kinds of things. Now there will be 40 offers on a $450,000 house. There will be, 50 offers on, 500,000. I mean, I can't believe it. We never saw that before. That's why I actually think it's worse than it was in 2012 and 13, right now, because it's almost like it's every price point. If you show your house and it looks like someone loved it and someone did the enough stuff, then it's going to have offers because people are buying.
Well, because people are buying, and it's like one of 3 houses on the market. So that's the other thing. And
See, you said you weren't good at math. Well, let me ask you the standard question though. How has your former job made you a better agent?
Wow, how is being I think wow. My name's Bill, and I think one of my better skills.
I know.
I've always been a pretty good people person,
Yeah.
For years on the radio, I did afternoons, which meant I was alone. I didn't have a big morning show crew, so I relied on. So I relied on phone calls, right? I relied on my listeners to call in and be part of the show. And what's great about being in radio is great and sometimes a little scary. Everybody, you're fortunate enough to have people who listen to you every day, but then they think they know you. right?
Yeah.
Because I do. I mean, if you remember, I was one of those guys that, I was never a shock jock. I was always just trying to keep it light. Talked about my family a lot. My kids, baseball, softball, all that stuff, what they were doing. And I think what that does is that lets people into your life and they feel like they know you, which is what I wanted, right? And because of that, they do start to trust you, and then you develop those relationships. And when they call, it's like talking to a friend. So
Or come
I
over,
think my people
Bill.
skills and my
Good morning.
yeah. Well, when they start knocking on the
it's-
studio door with a pie, it's a little worrisome. But
Well, I got to tell a story about you though, and I can't believe I'm about to do that. I know, no, but this is what made me realize just how human that you are. It makes me realize. But I hate to say this. Do you remember Scooter, your puppy, your dog?
yeah, I was okay. My dog, yes, Scooter. Yeah.
No, you were so sad when Scooter passed away.
Yeah.
And you were in the studio, and I was like, oh, Bill is so real. He's upset about his little puppy dying. Dog, it was a dog. But, I felt that because, I'm the big dog lover on the planet.
Right.
But it just showed me who you were. You were this guy, dude, came in there every day. And I didn't quite expect it. We always expect, but that dog was a part of your life, just like, mine were.
And thanks for bringing that up, Jill.
I know. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm so sorry. But I just remember that moment. It was just cool because, it just showed me who you really were.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm a big
cared.
guy, and people look at me and think I'm this big gruff dude, and I'm just a teddy bear.
Oh, you are. You are. I mean,
That's
come
it.
on. But we were talking about how, and I lived in the Alpharetta area, and when I walked away, I was just like, wow, I didn't realize it because I thought I was so ready. And for the record, I haven't put on a tennis skirt since I moved to Texas. By the way, Alpharetta, Georgia, if you don't know, is the tennis skirt capital of the world, folks. If you like tennis, that would probably be the place to go. So
I'm actually wearing mine right now.
So yeah. I know. Yeah, definitely. You probably look a lot better in it than I did at this point.
Oh, no.
So tell me this, though. What was your biggest revelation about real estate in general once you kind of got into it? No, come on.
That this ain't HGTV, man. It's not that easy.
Exactly. That was my next question. What do you think of HGTV? You're getting ahead of me, Bill. We're on the same the path.
Yeah,
but exactly. That's, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of rewarding work, though. The one thing I remember was, of course, I guess everybody remembers their first closing. But, the joy you get out of helping people find that next place to live, or in my case, I really work a lot with first-time buyers. I kind of get a kick out of that, to making them understand the process and helping them find that first house, especially if they have kids and the kids get excited and everybody's happy because they're finally, I don't have to share a room with my sister anymore.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. But no, seriously, the amount of work that goes into doing this job, I don't believe is understood by people who use us, which is fine. But
Yeah.
we're there to make sure they don't know half the stuff that's going on. And when I say that, we as your realtors fight a lot of battles that you don't know about in along the way to make sure that everything works out well for you. Nothing underhanded, nothing, sneaky, but there's just a lot of stuff that you've already got enough stress on you as a buyer or a seller. Then there's just things that we handle that you shouldn't have to, and that's part of the job.
That is exactly the job. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're there to put out fires that you don't even know exist, which is why we're here. The fact that, especially when you're new in this business, you're kind of on the clock 24/7 because you need to build your business. That was different for me. My job before, I used to go into the station 4 hours a day, try to make you, you're driving home from work, try to make you forget about the crappy day you had at the office, have some fun, make people laugh. And I could go home and nobody ever called me. I could go to the beach and nobody needed me. Now I go to the beach and that's like when everybody wants to buy a house, which is a good problem to have.
Exactly. When you go on vacation, I've done deals on the ski slopes before. I'm like, hang on, y'all, go ahead.
Yeah.
I've got to answer this.
It is what it is, but we're there for you, and now just the amount of work, but also the reward that comes with it, I think, is a big revelation.
I think it is. And I think it's probably what most people don't expect, because when you see the dollar sign first, then, you realize how much work it is when you get to the end. It's kind of like I said in radio. I mean, I'm not a multimillionaire because I did radio for 22 years, right before syndication and all that crazy stuff, and the internet hit. But you couldn't
wait.
tell me.
You're a multimillionaire?
No, I said I'm not, obviously, from radio, because, yeah, I know. What'd you do, Jill? Well, you really want to know? No, but do you see where I'm going with that? It's like, but I did it for 22 years, so you couldn't tell me, and the amount of charity work we did and all of that stuff, you couldn't tell me that I wouldn't change it, I guess is what I'm saying. Because,
well, radio's funny. If you play golf, then golfers get this. Radio gets in your blood. Radio is just something that, it's not a job. It's something that you are, It's really, and it's very, I can never describe it to people who've never been in the business. It's very hard to do that, but golfers get it, right? Especially hackers like me. I can go out there and hit 9 shots in the woods, but then I hit that one shot, then you know what? I'm coming back tomorrow because I'm good at this game. So, it gets in your blood.
Did you happen to see the Tiger Woods? He was in the tournament with all the other kids, and they had John Daly's kid and his kid. And
heard about it, but didn't see it.
Oh, try to find that online, because the look on Tiger's face and the way he was with his kid, and then the other people and stuff, that is so cool to me. Because I had Jack later in life, so it's always better to see like your kids doing better. So here was this tough man, Tiger Woods. Like golf. I mean, it just was in his blood, I guess, is why I think of that. I'm thinking of that, and then to see that, and it's the same thing. It's like radio. When you're in it, you're just in it, but yet when you get away from it, it's like, oh. Wow, it's a change. I can't believe you haven't been on the air in Atlanta for 9 years.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird to think that, because I was for 25, which I was very fortunate to be. Well, I was very fortunate to be at one place for 25 years.
That never
Radio,
happens. That's
crazy,
it, Bill.
Yeah.
Very few.
Well, they couldn't fire me and pay anybody less, so I was a bargain. But no, but it is interesting. But it is funny though that I still have 9 years, 10 years later, 10 years later now.
Yeah.
Folks coming up to me and saying, "I remember you are you the guy that used to do that?" And I used to use my kids on the air a lot, and they were like, "How are your kids? Are they grown up now?"
Yeah.
So that's still it's a nice feeling. But what was great about it is that radio was one of those things that all I ever wanted to do since I was a kid. I can remember that. Listen, I was an only child. I spent time in my room listening to the radio. I said, I'm going to do that and I got to do it. Not many people get to live their dream. And when that ended for me, rather than go somewhere else and be a part of the new world of radio, which is conglomerate and, big groups.
Yeah.
And be the guy in the back of the studio going, well, the way we used to do it, that is not the way you do it now. So, and rather than do that, I was happier to just close that door and say, that's chapter 1 in my life. And now what's next? And son of a gun, here comes real estate. And I'm loving that too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I saw something on one of your pages or something. And it was like your client was a former neighbor's child, like from 29 years. And I always tell, because I mentor a lot, and I always tell people that's their first thing. Well, how do I get clients? I'm all trained. I went to school. And I'm like, well, you have to dig deep. And they look at me. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought is like, dang, Bill, you dug deep.
Yeah, well,
when you remember if your client's been brought home from the hospital and they're not your family, that's deep, Bill.
We lived across the street from them, and I remember Anthony coming home from the hospital as a baby. And don't tell me I can't work a lead for 30 years, baby. That's how you work a lead.
That is. If I could end it now, I would, Bill. I mean, exactly. Because you and you never know where your leads are going to come from.
Well,
yours literally came from next door.
Yeah, I've actually had a couple others with kids who grew up with my kids. I've helped them buy their homes too. So, my kids have been a great source for me as far as leads go.
Well, so right, because
nice. So,
but you help them, but then you can help their friends, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're sending. Oh, my kids haven't bought a house yet.
Oh, okay.
But their friends have used me.
That's
their
next.
friends have used me.
Well, see, yeah, there you go. Because that's the way I see it. Jack is actually going to do real estate with me, which ought to be crazy because he's about to be 18. He's about to be 18. Can you believe it?
Lord, shut
I
up.
know.
Oh.
I know, right? Thank goodness for big hair and lots of makeup because it does help. I am telling you.
Well, just tell next time you see him, tell him to get off my yard. I'm getting old.
That's right. I know, right? I mean, here we go. But it is kind of interesting how, and what's going to be crazy for the people that you help is all of a sudden, as time goes on, and because now that I've been I'm in my 10th year, I've gotten people that are coming back. Okay, we need our next house. We need our next house. Yeah. And to me, that is the biggest compliment that anybody could ever give you. But see, it's like, oh, they're doing well. They're moving up. They're moving on, or they have a better opportunity somewhere else. And I find that just as fulfilling. Even if they're going somewhere else and it doesn't include me, I'm still thrilled for them.
Yeah. And of course, we all know what happens when you buy that first house. Usually a baby comes along pretty soon.
That's right. It's right.
And in a few more years, you've outgrown that house. So it's time to move up to bigger and better things. And if we did our part right, then we are still in their mind. That's the great thing about it.
Right. And, but sometimes things don't work out great. Things don't work out the way that they've planned. We've done that the best that we could. Have you ever had like a throwdown with another agent? At all? Has that ever happened to you? I don't think that would happen to you, Bill.
Not really a throwdown. No, I'm one of those guys. I'm not good with conflict, but I will stand my ground for my client. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see the need to get in. And I've heard horror stories from people with agents.
Me too.
I just don't see the need to go there. I try to diffuse it before that point. And if it can't be settled, then I stick out my tongue and call them names.
I'm not going to lie. There were a few moments, that I, because you're trying to help your client, really, is what it is.
Right.
And you're trying to make them see your point.
Here's the thing that I try to make everybody understand, and when we're doing a deal, is that what irritates me, and I've only been doing this for 6 years now, agents who think they have to quote unquote win the deal. People who think they have to win the deal. Look. You sell the house, for what you said you would. Your client buys the house for the price they told you they could afford. Everybody wins. Sure. There's no winning for you and me as agents. The win is to make sure that the people we're working for are happy when we walk away from the closing table. And
exactly.
Most of the time that happens. A few times it doesn't. I had my very first sale were some people that I've known for a long time, and they hired me to sell their house, give me my first shot. And we got a week away from closing, and the attorney called me and said, "Hey, did you know about their bankruptcy?" I was like, "No." I've been an agent for about a year, so I'm still learning on the fly. And turns out that they had a $70,000 second mortgage that they thought was taken care of by the bankruptcy, and nobody informed them that it was the responsibility when you sell the house to pay that off. So long story short, we wound up turning the second mortgage into a short sale, but instead of walking away with $50,000, they got nothing because it all had to go to that. But I didn't see that coming. There's nothing I could have known. I didn't know that they were going to file bankruptcy 7 years earlier.
Well, but the good news is that they did have that equity to be able to do that.
With that, and I have now learned to ask everybody I list a home for, have you ever filed for bankruptcy?
Right. And,
because,
but part of it, sometimes you got to get into their business because that can help you. It's like if you were working with an attorney, you'd have to tell them things, right? So that's how I feel about it. It's like, let me know what all the details, and then I can sort them out. If I don't have all the details, it's much more difficult, which brings us back to HGTV because you never see the details, right?
No. Saw 3 houses, I'll pick that one.
Yeah. If only that could be the case. I kind of think HGTV is when, I used to watch Frasier when I was in radio. It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because I would watch Frasier and I would think, oh, that's not how it is, but I love it So it's kind of like, because I do love HGTV, it's good for a lot of things, but it is funny at the same time for people in the industry because we wish it could be like that, and we wish it could be that easy.
Now, see, here's our age difference. For me, it's WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah,
that's what I got. That's what I
watched
thought about
that
radio.
show. We're like the same age, I think. But yeah, no, I watched that show too, and gosh, that is so funny. Have you ever seen anything like a cool feature in a house that you would just love to have? Have you ever seen like something like that? I'll tell you what mine is. You should probably guess.
Tell you what, you go ahead because I'm going to think about that for a second.
You think about it. For me, I love these decked out dog washes that people put in their garages or they put it somewhere in their house. It's like a mud room. It's almost like have you come encountered with a lot of those types of houses where
haven't seen that here. Nope.
Yeah.
Now, my neighbor's got a hose.
No, this is actually, I have a neighbor and, Jack does a lot of car detailing and pet, dog walking to make money and stuff. He's a little entrepreneur and in between gymnastics. But one of his clients has one, and sometimes she lets Jack bring my big old Stella. We have a German Shepherd now, and over there. And now, like, why didn't I do this? Oh my gosh! But
we all know
like
Stella.
That.
Stella's famous.
She's so sweet and big. Someone didn't want her, put her outside in like a really cold climate, and it's like next thing you know, she's living in a big D.
Probably the one of the cooler things I ever saw was a guy in his decked out his basement, and his bar would rotate. So it was almost like something out of Get Smart or the movie Clue or whatever. The bar would actually rotate into the wall, and then when it was not being, like when his kids were using the basement, he would rotate it and lock it. And then that wall had other stuff on it, like a dartboard and other things. So,
see, that's the difference in where you are and where I am now in Texas. You guys have mostly these full basements, these full walkout light basements. That's what I had at my Alpharetta house. And it just gives a, whole different dimension to the house. Whereas here, we don't really have that. So space actually in Texas is a bigger issue than you would think because it's, but we don't have that kind of, the houses are different, very cool, but different. And backyards right now are huge here.
What's the reason for no basements? Just curious. Is it just the way things are, or
it just was flat here? There's like no terrain. Like the terrain is different, wouldn't it be? Yeah, because you wouldn't. You just dig straight down.
But like you're saying, I bet outdoor life is better. I mean, like the backyard life is probably very key.
Oh, backyards here are huge. I mean, even kind of prior to the COVID thing, I think, because people want it to walk out. It's like the extension of the house, so it's an extra living space because we don't really have very cold weather, which you guys don't there either. I mean, but it is a different type of weather. But we're probably, well, not today, but like a couple days ago, it was like 70 degrees, 75 degreys. You start out in the morning and then you're kind of like that. But right now it's just like
today.
Yeah, and like I said, pools and anything outdoors. It's really it's expensive to do now, and that's a lot of, like, I was talking to my neighbor, and she's like, "Well, I don't know if I want to do it now, put a pool in now, because it's so much more expensive. She's probably not gonna get close if she sells that house in a few years, even because." Well,
yeah, that's the thing about a pool is that people think that it adds value, and it only adds value if your buyers are looking for a pool. Right.
Well, no, but wait a minute. Here in Texas, if a pool is in place, you can sell your house relatively quickly if everything else checks up, because it's too expensive to build one eventually. Right now, it is anyway, or it is expensive. Let me just say, and you have to wait like a long time because these pool people are backed up. So right now, I'm wondering why I'm not in the pool business because I love pools. I'm like a poolaholic.
What's stopping you? Come on.
I know, but I like hearing like the different ways, like the way real estate is there, kind of it's here. I love bringing that to the table. And what I hope just to do with this podcast is make people's experiences a little bit better, knowing certain things if they know about certain areas, like I want to make it easier instead of making it harder, because it just seems like it's harder now, but really the deal is getting the house. I would love to tell people I can take 20, I'd love to have a seller take 20 grand off the price of their house. But the bottom line is, in our market, the deal is getting the house. It's not getting a deal. Does that make any sense, Bill? Have I ever made any sense?
No, you do. Yeah, that's good. I agree with you.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
I just came up with that.
Well, there you go. Right.
The deal is getting the house, folks.
That's right.
But yeah, if you have a 480, that's a lot of house, right? A $480,000, but yet it has tons and tons of offers on it. And it went $51,000. I'm thinking of this one I just saw, 50,000 over list or something.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, this has been a very unprecedented time. First of all,
sure,
because of COVID, the pandemic's kind of affected the market here in Atlanta, not as badly as other places. Atlanta's just kind of kept rolling along. We've been very fortunate with real estate here.
Oh, so have we, as far as the housing market goes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a little tight on inventory, but business has been good. I think a lot of people were also waiting for the dust to settle on the elections, no matter where you fall on that side of that.
Right.
So I'm have a feeling here that, come springtime with everybody getting hopefully, if everybody's getting the vaccine and they're feeling better about things and better about being locked up in the house for 9 months, man, that as much as you love your house and that's what we do for a living, it takes a toll.
Right.
Takes a toll.
Well, and I think that's what made people say, you know what? I am going to make sure that either A, it's time for me to downsize, or B, it's time for me to have more space because I have more people that might come live with me in a situation. More and more, families are spending, time in one house. So yeah. I think I just think though, if you're considering the move, you got to know everything, which is where we come in. We actually have a purpose, Bill.
Yes, we do. And what's funny is people always ask me, they're like, "Well, if I buy now, what do you think is going to happen in 2 or 3 years?" And I always tell them, like, "Look, dude, if I could tell you that, I wouldn't be selling real estate. I'd be I'd be a lot richer and not need to do this. If I could predict the future."
Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball.
No.
And we can't promise, you're going to make money off of this house. But if you play your cards right and you listen, if you ask us, we might say, I might do this, I might not do that. I might, this is what I would do. And this is moving forward, like as time goes on. When you're going to sell a house, I like to tell people if they ask and they want to know, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't change that. I would change this. Fix that wood rot. Don't get me started about wood rot. It comes up all the time. Fix it. Don't put new counters. Fix the wood rot. I'm telling you, it'll help you out.
Fix the bones, and then we'll worry about the rest of it. That's the thing.
And
fix the bones, and we'll take care of the skin later.
But when I started, bones were a new roof. Okay. AC is working. Good. Okay. Suddenly, that is just as important as what, the Chip and Joanna thing, love them too. But, you're not always going to have every room fixed up the way that you want it. You're going to have to do some of that work, especially when you're talking about areas and big areas like a Dallas or Atlanta. So if you want to live in a certain area because it's closer to your work or whatever, then you might not get the perfection that you want, but it could be down the road. You can make it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you have been a blast as usual. We probably have to wrap all of this up as time is going on. I know, right?
Well,
where are we on
we'll have
time?
to do it again
I have no
someday.
idea. I hope so,
great.
Bill. I hope you'll come back on with me and we can talk more about, real estate and anything else and the family and because I just believe that we meet people for a reason and they come back and forth in our life or for whatever. But you've definitely been a constant. I love seeing everything that you're doing, and I'm glad we stayed connected.
I am too, and I really appreciate the time on your special podcast, Jill Kelly.
Hey, listen, your career's about to take off because of this show right here, Bill Seller. I hope you know that, okay?
No,
actually,
so.
do you remember, no, listen to this. I think I've probably mentioned in my podcast before that you've listened to them all, right? But I used to have that little Sunday show in Atlanta, the PSA show that nobody wanted to do.
Right.
And
right.
I kind of made it fun, for myself, because that's what I do. And I like if Jack wasn't asleep, I'd have a sleep doctor on, or if whatever issue I was having, I made it a public issue, right? But I had this sleep doctor on, and I would joke with him, oh, hey, listen, your career, man, I swear I was watching Oprah one time, and there he was on the show. I was like, wait a minute. Now
all because of appearing with you on a Sunday morning in Atlanta.
That was it right there. I tell myself that. And you know who else used to be on my Sunday show? Do you know that girl on Good Morning America, Tori? She does the Steals and Deals. She's been on that show. She was on the Sunday show.
Wow.
I know. Can you believe it?
Star Maker.
Yeah. I know. You're welcome. But that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm just like living in my own world. And as Bandy used to tell me, one of my morning show partners back in the day, he used to say, you live in your own world and everybody there likes you, Jill.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I always get told it's Bill's movie. We're just lucky to be in it. So.
That's right. Well, Bill, I'm going to say thank you for joining me, and I hope you will do it again. Hey, and please show some love for the love of real estate and subscribe. Check out my website, JillElliottHomes.com, and my blog, real-estate-love.com.
Thank you for tuning into For the Love of Real Estate. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to fortheloveofrealestate.biz to join the conversation, access the show notes, and sign up for our newsletter.